It is the Friday edition of the Data Roundtable. How are you? I missed you. I took a couple days off. Took a couple of personal days, but now I'm back and I'm here. Hopefully that you guys are excited about getting back to talking about data science. That's the whole point of the Data Roundtable. I hold space, facilitate, help answer whatever you guys want in terms of helping us to keep on developing as data professionals, right? The whole point is for us to continue being data professionals and keep on working towards what we love and what we do. So let me know that you're out there. Let me know what your experience level is, what questions you have, what you've been reading, what you're working on, what gets you excited, what gets you sad, what gets you mad. All of that is valid conversation for us. The whole point is for us to talk and be able to express our ideas, hear other people's ideas, so on and so forth, right? So let me know that you're out there. Let me know what's on your mind. What are you working on? What's the last good article you read? What's your side project? You do have a side project, don't you? You should, right? We should all be working on something. So let me know what's going on. Let me know how you're doing and see where the conversation takes us. As always, I walk in here with no agenda. We just kind of see who's around and who wants to talk about what and go there, right? That's it's very helpful that we have that type of open thinking, right? So let me know how you're doing. Let me know that you're out there. Let me know what you'd like to talk about. I took a couple days off, took a little bit of a road trip this week, just kind of mix things up in my schedule. Being a content creator is definitely a challenge, definitely hard, but it also means I'm self-employed. I make my own schedule and I can do what I want. So I took off for a couple of days, had some just personal research and personal fun. I'm getting ready to do a couple of different things in 2026. So sometimes those things take planning. So I went out and I did some planning. And just kind of keeping everything moving forward, right? So that's what I did this week, but I'm back. I'm here. I'm going to do my client check-ins in a little bit here. I've got some business items to work on for my coaching business. In case you don't know, I do offer one-on-one coaching. I have a fantastic group of clients right now. So if you'd like information on that, please check the links in my bio. But I'm going to be doing some business work, some accounting today, and just keep on moving forward, right? Keep on moving forward. So let me know what you're working on. Let me know that you're out there. How can I help you? What's on your mind? What are you reading? What's got you excited? What's got you down? Let me know what was the last AI tool you used that was really disappointing. I think we've all had that experience, right? Where you hear about a tool or you see a quick TikTok about something, you think, oh, wow, that's going to be pretty cool. Let me go look at that. And then you go look at it and it just doesn't deliver, right? I think we've all had that experience. So what was the last tool that you were kind of let down by? Let me know. I still have it on my to-do list to go out and do some more work with Midjourney. I'm very curious about that product. Supposedly it's come along pretty far in its recent iteration, so I'm really curious about how good that tool can be. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. I'm trying to find time for that in my weekend schedule. But there's always something to do, always something to investigate, something to research, something to reply to. But let me know how you're doing. Let me know that you're out there. If you're watching this on a replay, I broadcast every day at this same time, 1500 GMT. So whatever time it is in your time zone. And then afterwards, I switch over to Instagram and I also stream there. So if you'd like to join me on Instagram, feel free to do that too. In the chat, we have Leo. Leo, how are you, my friend? Haven't seen you in a while. How are you? So good to see you. Hope you're doing well, my friend. I haven't checked our conversation on Discord, so if I owe you a reply in there, I apologize. But so glad to see you, my friend, and glad to see you back. Let me know how you're doing. Michael, how are you, my friend? Michael says, "Hi, Dennis. Hey, Michael, how are you? Hope you're doing well out there. Hope that it's cooling down for both of you guys. Both of you guys are on the East Coast, so hopefully it's cooling down for you guys. I still have some hot weather over here on my end, but hopefully, the more pumpkin spice we put in the air, the more it'll start cooling down, right? But good to see both of you. So glad to see both of you. Leo says, doing great. Hope you as well, my friend. I'm doing, yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate the good wishes. I'm doing pretty well, thank you. Like I said, I just got back from a trip. I took a little 3-day or 2-day road trip, whatever it was. But yeah, I'm back at my desk. I'm working. I'm going to do my Friday check-ins with my client. And yeah, going to keep on working. It doesn't stop over here, guys. There's always something to do. Always something to reply to. Always something to do. So yeah, I'm going to be working through the weekend. Sometimes the weeks and weekends kind of blend into each other. The only way I know it's the week is because I get cheaper hotel rates when I go on these little trips. But otherwise, yeah, doing well. Casual Economist, how are you? Hey, Dennis. Hey, Casual Economist, my fair-going friend. It looks like you had a good time at the Minnesota Fair, so glad that you're back. Glad that you didn't have a heart attack from all those fried foods. So good for you. Glad to see you here, Casual Economist. Yeah, took a little break there, Casual Economist, from streaming. So I missed you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, if you guys want to let me know what's on your mind or what you're working on, this is the time for it. Lots of crazy growth over on the Instagram side. So nowadays I'm running 2 streams. So yeah, it's been crazy on my end, but all is good over here. Thanks. Sedan, nice to see you again. Haven't seen you in a little bit. How are you? So Sedan says, have you seen Trump's meeting with the tech CEOs? Sedan, that's a really good question, and I have not. Obviously, I know what you're referring to. I saw the little, news clips here and there. What was weird? One of the clips that I saw was them at a dinner table, right? Because I know it was a dinner. But they also had like those very formal microphones, like you would have like at a hearing. Because I remember I saw that it had like the little red light on the microphone to indicate that the microphone was like, I guess it's when it's red, it's on or something like that. I don't know. But I just thought it was weird that it was supposed to be like this tech CEO meeting, this dinner, but yet they still had very formal, like what do you call those? Like the hearings, like the Senate hearing type of microphones, right? Like, so that was weird. So no, I haven't seen it, but hey, if somebody else in the chat has, let me know. I mean, maybe something caught your ear. But no, I haven't seen, I'm sure somewhere there's a recorded stream, right? But that's the only pieces I caught. Just that kind of struck me as weird that it was supposed to be like a dinner or whatever, and yet they had very formal microphones and just weird, just out of place. Casual Economist says, I gained about 20 pounds. You know what? Who hasn't gained weight? Weight management is so hard. So Casual Economist, I hear you. It's so easy to go overboard at a fair like that, but I'm not going to judge you. I'm in no position to judge anybody on gaining weight. But glad you're here. Sadat says, like space race in the 70s and 80s, why is everyone behind AI now? Well, Sadat, you're implying that we shouldn't be behind it. I think we should. I think it could be very transformative, right? I mean, I'm convinced it's going to be around for a long time, right? AI is going to be with us for hundreds of years, right? So I think we should get behind it. Should it be a space race again? Maybe. Some countries are certainly making it that way, right? But Sedant, I mean, if you think that we shouldn't be behind it, or if you see it as a fad, or some other reason why you think it shouldn't be as popular, I'd love to hear it, right? I mean, I love hearing those, an opposing opinion. But Sedant, I mean, just let me know where you're standing on that. Like, do you think it shouldn't be as serious? I mean, there's a lot of money behind it for sure. Well, or somebody else in the chat can also let me know what you think. Siddhant says, I took your advice, seriously thought about it for a while, and thanks for that, and now planning to pursue a specific degree in it. Siddhant, I know you've been here before, but I apologize. I don't know what advice I gave you. I'm sorry, guys. Sometimes, I'm just talking to so many people. I don't always remember the specifics of the conversation. So, Siddhant, if you want to remind me, I'd appreciate that. But I'm glad you liked it, even though I can't quite remember it. I'm sorry, Siddhant. Let me know. Okay, so Michael says, I highly recommend the podcast known as All In. They are venture capitalists focused now on AI. Always interesting to learn how they are investing. Michael. Michael, you are not the first person to recommend that podcast. But I got to tell you, Michael, I'm not a fan of VCs. And I don't know. I mean, look, I think most of us, if you're not, you should be familiar with the book Fooled by Randomness, right? If you guys aren't familiar with Fooled by Randomness, you should be. So, Michael, I think about that book a lot when I think about people like the ones on the All In podcast, right? Who's that guy? Is it Jason, right? I mean, he's not special, right? He's just another VC that invests in 200 companies and one of them hit. I can't respect that, right? So I think that some of these people get their credentials by randomness, right? I mean, was Mark Cuban a genius or was he just early? I mean, radio on the web. I mean, that's not like a groundbreaking idea. He was just first, right? So when I think about VCs, I don't always have a lot of respect for them. And also, most VCs are psychopaths, right? I mean, they're money hungry psychopaths. So, do I care about where they're investing? Maybe, maybe not. I don't hold them up to be geniuses, right? And then the other one, Chamath. I mean, there's if you ever go on X, I mean, there's clearly a Chamath backlash, right? I mean, the guy's viewed as a psychopath, in a very public way. I mean, and also, I mean, he was a big champion of SPACs. Why do you do SPACs? Because you don't want to reveal your real numbers in an IPO, right? It's a workaround to hiding your numbers. So I don't have a lot of respect for those guys. So I hear you, and some people have told me that before, but they're just not people I respect. I don't want to learn from them. I mean, my data scientist mind has to says that there's a significant element of randomness to the way they invest, right? To their luckiness, right, of investing, and they're psychopaths, right? Leo said the size said everything. Yeah, Leo. Obviously, you have enough experience here. You've been such a great supporter that you know exactly how I feel about VCs. So, Michael, I know I have a check-in with you later. Happy to expand on that with you. But the All In podcast to me isn't being run by people I want to learn from. They have nothing to teach me. Siddhant says full-time degrees and projects are better than boot camp short-term for data science analytics. Okay, yeah, Siddhant, if that's the advice you're following, good for you, man. I love that because that means that you are willing to take a little bit of a longer path, right? Because it's more of an effort for you to say, hey, I'm going to get academic grounding, I'm going to do my own work, rather than the quick tutorials. So good for you, my friend. So Siddhant, if there's anything we can do to support you in that, let me know. But yeah, I'm glad you're going down that road. Good job. Michael says one of the contributors there is David Sachs, right, who's serving the administration as the AI czar, right? And I appreciate your perspective on some of their shady choices. Yeah, and Sachs is no better, right? I mean, you don't obtain a political position like that without having some scumminess in you. You just don't, right? And you guys know that I don't talk politics or things like that in my content. But you don't get to the top like that by being a nice guy. And I would say that for any number of things, right? Like professional athletes, right? Professional athletes are terrible people, right? Because you don't get to the top of being a professional athlete by being a nice guy or a good partner or, you know, a good dad, right? So, I'll tell you guys a story that really kind of changed my perspective on that, right? So, and you guys can contribute in the chat here. So, they did a survey. Do you know what the number one trait of professional athletes across all fields are? Right? A professional athletes at the top of their field, do you know what their number one trait is? Right? So you can think about anything you want. Their personal traits, their physical traits, is it their blood pressure? Is it their resting heart rate? Is it their the state they grew up in? What do you guys think is the number one attribute that most professional athletes have? And then I'll tell you the second one. So think about the first and the second one. There's two top traits that they found in professional athletes across all sports. What do you guys think it is? Let me know in the chat. Michael says, so that's why I haven't been more successful, need to be more scummy. Yeah, to some degree, Michael, yeah. I mean, that's one of my things, right? That I try to be true to myself, right? And I know that I've missed out on opportunities, but that's okay because I sleep well at night, right? That's important to me. Leo says, super optimistic views coming from investors for me are more like red flags, to be honest. Yeah, sure. Yeah, Leo. Leo, I think you and I have spoken about this before, and I think that you and I share some of those like contrarian views, right? What's that saying? Sell when others are celebrating and buy when others are fearful, right? So yeah, Leo, I hear you, and there's there's definitely a lot of optimism in the market this week. Maybe not today. I don't know what the SPY is doing today, but gold is doing very well today. So SPY is probably not doing well. But yeah, for sure, there's definitely a cause to say that there is over enthusiasm in the market. Okay, so Michael says selfishness. Michael, you're super close. You're super close. So if anybody else, remember the question is, they've done a survey. What are the top two traits of professional athletes across all sports? Leo says, I made sure to keep you updated this week. Okay, cool. Thank you, Leo. I'll check our Discord chat. I'm assuming you mean the Discord chat, but I'll check that. I've been away from my computer here, but I'll check that. But yeah, Michael, you're really close with the selfishness. Leo says resilience and consistency. Ooh, Leo, you're also close there. Okay, so the number one trait that they found across all professional athletes is that they're complete assholes because they're overly competitive, right? Professional athletes are overly competitive assholes, and that's across all sports, right? Even if they're football and you're going to challenge them to a ping pong game, they want to win at all costs, period. They hate losing more than anything else in their life, right? They absolutely hate losing at anything, right? So even if you took like a professional skier and challenged them to basketball, they would be hyper competitive at basketball, right? Like a free throw contest or whatever, right? Second thing that they found is that they have a lot of elements of OCD. They like their routines. They stick to their routines as far as their diet, their food, how they prep their uniform, and the times they practice, all of that, right? So they're hyper-competitive assholes that like sticking to a routine. Those are the top two traits of athletes. Now tell me, do those make elements for a good person? A good husband, a good wife, a good mother, a good father? Probably not, right? So, I mean, they're sacrificing a lot just to be at the top of their sport. And good for them, I'm sure it brings them things that they want, right? But that doesn't make them good people, right? So why wouldn't that apply to somebody like Sachs, who is now the AI czar, right? You probably don't do that by being a nice guy. You probably don't do that by sleeping well at night, right? Michael says arrogance. Yeah, Michael. So there's definitely an element of that, right? I mean, you have to, and coming back to your selfishness, OCD is a certain part of putting yourself first, right? Because you will not deviate from your daily plan, daily routine, whatever it is you need, right, to get your day going, or all parts of your day, right? So I think about that. I think about that in terms of like, the people you see on TV, the people at the top of any field, right, going beyond sports. They're probably not nice people, right? They're just not. Um, Michael says that, that describes my oldest son. Whoa. I don't know if that's a statement or a red flag there, Michael. Something to think about there. But yeah, but if that's his traits, then he might be on his way to being a professional athlete because it makes sense, right? I mean, I've met a couple of athletes or people at the top of their field, and they are very hyper competitive, super hyper competitive. Um, they hate losing, right? They hate losing more than anything. They'd rather cut off their left arm than lose at anything, right? I don't get it. Personally, I don't get it. I'd rather keep a clean conscience and sleep well at night. Leo says, well, I think it's just a matter of dealing with what success looks like. Um, no, Leo, because this is how they obtain that success, right? What I'm saying is that that's how they get there, right? So continuing it is just how they stay there. But how they climb there is still very, very ugly, right? I mean, I heard another similar comparison. Maybe you guys have heard this one too, because I think this one's a little bit more popular. But there was also that comparison about how to be a professional athlete, it helps to have a terrible home life, right? Because you don't get to be a professional athlete by your mother picking you up 10 minutes after practice ends in a nice SUV. You get to be a professional athlete by hating to go home and you stay after practice for 3 hours doing free throws because that's better than going home, right? So I think you have to separate like how they got there, right, Leo? And I think that's how they did, right? So that's part of the ugliness of it all, right? Michael says he's a golf professional, so so yeah, we have our moment. Oh my gosh, that's such a hard field, Michael. Gosh, I feel for your son. How old is he? I know there's different levels of golf professional, but the thing about golf, I love golf, and I've been able to play in a pro am, and I played in a Corn Ferry pro am and stuff like that. The thing about golf is that there are a lot of people who are out there trying to make a living at it, right? There's obviously the PGA, and then there's the Corn Ferry, and then there's the mini tours, and the mini tour to the mini tour to the mini tour. So the people you see on Sundays, I mean, that is like the top like 0.0000001% of people out there swinging a golf club to make a living, right? I mean, and what do they say that the hardest thing in sports is to bring home a lead on Sunday, right? I mean, holding on to a lead on Sunday is the hardest thing in sports, and I totally agree with that. It's mind wrecking, mind wrecking. He's 32. Okay, cool, Michael. So is he like a local professional, like a PGA licensed professional, or is he trying to be a touring professional? Michael says the mini tours, right? There's so many. There's so many. For those of you who don't know, in golf, the people you see in the PGA Tour are the very, very, very tip of the spear. And then there's the Corn Ferry, which is like the minor leagues, for at least on the men's side, right? On the women's side, I think Michael, maybe you can correct me on this. On the women's side, I think it's the Epson Tour, right? Um, but then on top of that, there's other mini tours that happen, kind of like almost regionally or just seasonally. Like a tour would only run like 2 months or something like that, or maybe it'll just be in Florida. There's a lot of mini tours in Florida, and there's people who are basically trying to win that to get into another one, to get into another, and just kind of like keep on climbing the tour ladder. And I remember one of the guys, the thing is that the mini tours, you're paying to play. It's not free to play, even if you're a good player. You're paying to play. So basically, um, you're basically just playing for each other's money, right? So if there's like 40 entrants, you guys, they are the prize pool, right? Like they're making up the prize pool. So in a way, it's almost like a like pool gambling, right? Because there's no sponsorship money. Like these tours happen on a Tuesday afternoon or something like that. Like there's no tour, there's no sponsorship, there's no cameras. So they're basically just gambling among each other, right? And hopefully, one of them makes it out of that and goes on, right? But it's hard. Michael says you won't see him on TV anytime soon. Well, it's hard. It's hard to get on TV. It is super hard to get on TV to be at that level. And you know what really got me too, Michael, when I played on this Corn Ferry Pro-Am. They did it at one of my local courses, a beautiful course and a very difficult course, like a very difficult course. I had no business being out there. I did it just because it was fun. But I remember that weekend, and this is a Corn Ferry guy. He tore up the course. He came in at like 12 under or 14 under for the weekend. Something, actually, I want to say it was like 16 under for the weekend on what I know is a hard course. And I thought to myself, that person can come out, shoot a 16 under for the weekend, and still not be good enough to be on the PGA Tour. Like, you are talking about a level of skill that like is beyond what you think it takes. Like for you to be on the PGA Tour and to stay there and keep your card. I mean, God had to have reached down and personally touched you and selected you and only you to be able to do that. Super difficult to do. Super difficult to do that. Michael says it's a crazy sport. It is, Michael. It is. I mean, and I mean, and then also the mental side of it is very, very difficult. And I'll tell you something else, Michael, that really surprised me. And I tell this to people. People also underestimate the preparation that those guys go through. As an example, when I played in the Pro-Am, and remember, this is Corn Ferry, so these guys are still like the minor leagues, right? You play the Pro-Am on the Wednesday before they start, right? They start on Thursday. We play the Pro-Am on Wednesday. And one of the things I would have never guessed was that when we were out there, we were being followed at various times by different caddies to the players. And the caddies were out there the day before making notes on the course. So the caddies are out there the day before scouting and saying, oh yeah, okay, this hill's over here and this bunker and the wind comes in. Like their caddies are out there the day before taking notes, scouting the course. And like they walked along with us and, they weren't saying anything, but you could see them taking notes and talking amongst each other. They were out there reading the greens and all that. Like the level of preparation they go through, like highly, highly underrated. I was very surprised by that. But yeah, it is indeed a crazy sport, Michael. So best of luck to your son. But I know that a lot of those guys also go on to do teaching and all that. So, maybe he enjoys that part of it, or, you end up at a nice country club, even though country clubs are kind of maybe falling out of fashion overall, right? But it is a crazy sport, Michael. It is definitely a crazy sport. All right, guys. So thanks so much for that. I'm going to jump over to Instagram. Really appreciate everyone's thoughts. And I appreciate the suggestion on the Tech CEO dinner. I will definitely have to go out and find the recording of that. So for those of you guys that haven't done that, I think it's a good thing for all of us to look at. So as always, please take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and I will see you guys again tomorrow.